Jealousy makes people do incredibly stupid things. But these 45 people took it to an extreme level, letting envy consume them so completely that they destroyed their own lives while trying to hurt others. Here are the dumbest things people did out of jealousy. 1. Someone quit their $80,000 job because a coworker got promoted instead of them. After 5 years at the company, this person expected a promotion to senior manager. When a coworker with 3 years of experience got the position instead, rage took over completely. Rather than continuing to work and prove themselves for the next opportunity, an immediate resignation letter was submitted without having another job lined up. The dramatic exit included telling the new manager exactly what was thought of the decision. Walking out felt satisfying in the moment. 2 weeks later, reality set in when bills arrived. Job applications went out to dozens of companies in the same industry. Reference checks revealed the unprofessional exit had been documented. The former manager gave terrible references describing the immature behavior. Every interview went poorly when asked about leaving the previous role. Months passed without any offers. Savings ran out after 4 months. Moving back in with parents at age 34 was humiliating. Meanwhile, the promoted coworker thrived in the new role and got a $20,000 raise after 1 year. Attempts to get rehired at the old company were rejected. Eventually, a job was found paying $50,000, a $30,000 pay cut from the original position. Over 5 years, the lost income totaled $150,000 compared to staying. The career trajectory never recovered to the previous level. Professional reputation in the industry was permanently damaged. The stupidity was quitting an $80,000 job out of jealousy over a promotion, burning bridges with an immature exit, becoming unhireable due to bad references, losing $150,000 over 5 years, and permanently damaging a career. 2. A person sabotaged their best friend's relationship out of jealousy by sending fake cheating evidence to their partner. Watching a best friend fall in love made this person intensely jealous of the happiness and attention being given to someone else. After 6 months of watching the relationship flourish, a plan was hatched to destroy it. Fake text messages were created using photo editing software, making it appear the friend was cheating with multiple people. These fabricated screenshots were sent anonymously to the partner with claims of being a concerned stranger. The partner confronted the friend about the evidence, leading to a huge fight. However, the friend proved the messages were fake by showing actual phone records and the original conversations. An investigation into who sent the fake evidence led back to the jealous person through IP address tracking. The friendship ended immediately when the truth came out. Mutual friends took sides, and everyone sided with the victim. The entire friend group cut off contact with the saboteur. Reputation spread throughout the social circle as someone who couldn't be trusted. Years of friendship were destroyed in one jealous act. The former best friend got engaged 2 years later to the same partner, now stronger than ever. Wedding invitations went to everyone except the saboteur. Social isolation followed as the friend group had been the primary social network. Depression set in from the loneliness. Attempts to apologize years later were rejected. The stupidity was sabotaging a best friend's relationship out of jealousy, creating fake evidence, getting caught through IP tracking, losing all friends, being completely isolated, and destroying a decade-long friendship. 3. Someone bought a luxury car they couldn't afford because their neighbor got a nice car. After the neighbor pulled up in a brand new BMW, intense jealousy consumed this person who drove a 5-year-old sedan. Conversations at neighborhood gatherings now included the neighbor's car as a topic of admiration. Unable to handle not being the one with the nicest car, a visit to a luxury dealership followed. A $70,000 Mercedes was purchased with a 7-year loan at high interest due to mediocre credit. The monthly payment was $1,100, which was more than could realistically be afforded on a $60,000 annual salary. After insurance, gas, and maintenance, transportation costs exceeded $1,500 monthly. Other expenses had to be cut drastically to afford the car. Savings stopped completely. Credit cards were used for regular expenses. Within 6 months, $15,000 of credit card debt accumulated. The financial stress caused constant anxiety. After 1 year, the car needed $3,000 in maintenance that wasn't budgeted for. More credit card debt piled up to cover the repairs. By year 2, total debt reached $30,000 on credit cards alone. Bankruptcy seemed like the only option. The car was voluntarily surrendered to avoid repossession, but $25,000 was still owed after it sold at auction. Credit score dropped to 480. Meanwhile, the neighbor paid cash for their BMW and had zero debt. 7 years of financial recovery followed. The stupidity was buying a $70,000 car out of jealousy, taking on a $100 monthly payment that couldn't be afforded, accumulating $30,000 in debt, destroying credit, and taking 7 years to recover financially. 4. A person spread vicious rumors about a successful coworker, leading to a defamation lawsuit. Jealousy over a coworker's rapid promotions and recognition led to whisper campaigns around the office. Rumors were started claiming the successful colleague was sleeping with the boss to get ahead. Additional lies were spread about falsified credentials and stealing others' work. These rumors were repeated to anyone who would listen, including people outside the company. The successful coworker noticed a change in how people treated them, but couldn't identify the source initially. After 6 months, someone finally revealed who was spreading the rumors. Confrontation with HR led to an investigation. Multiple witnesses confirmed hearing the rumors from the jealous coworker. Termination for creating a hostile work environment followed immediately, but the damage extended beyond just losing the job. The successful coworker filed a defamation lawsuit with evidence of the lies and their impact on reputation. Text messages and emails were discovered where the rumors had been spread. The lawsuit sought $100,000 in damages for emotional distress and reputation harm. Legal defense costs reached $15,000 before settling out of court for $45,000. The judgment had to be paid over 3 years from a lower-paying job. Meanwhile, the falsely accused coworker became a director at the company with a $150,000 salary. Background checks at new jobs revealed the defamation lawsuit and termination. Employment prospects were severely limited. The stupidity was spreading false rumors about a coworker out of jealousy, getting caught and fired, being sued for defamation, paying $60,000 total in legal costs and settlement, and ruining employment prospects. 5. Someone got extensive plastic surgery to look like their attractive sibling, resulting in botched procedures. Growing up as the less attractive sibling created lifelong jealousy and insecurity. After the sibling became a successful model, the envy became unbearable. A decision was made to get plastic surgery to look more like the model sibling. Over $40,000 was borrowed for multiple procedures including rhinoplasty, chin implants, cheek implants, and lip fillers. The surgeon warned that trying to copy someone else's features might not work with the different bone structure. Ignoring this advice, the procedures went forward. The results were immediately problematic. Features didn't harmonize with the existing facial structure. The nose looked too small for the face. Implants appeared unnatural and obvious. Lip fillers migrated unevenly. Rather than looking like the sibling, the result was a distorted artificial appearance. Revision surgeries were attempted at additional cost but made things worse. Infections developed from repeated procedures. Scarring became permanent. Total spending on surgeries and revisions exceeded $65,000. The sibling was horrified and saddened by what jealousy had driven to happen. Family relationships became strained as everyone had warned against this plan. Depression followed from the botched appearance. Dating became nearly impossible due to insecurity about the obviously altered face. The model sibling continued thriving while the jealous sibling dealt with permanent disfigurement. The stupidity was getting $65,000 in plastic surgery out of jealousy to look like a sibling, ignoring medical advice, ending up with a botched and disfigured appearance, and ruining family relationships. 6. A person sabotaged their own business presentation to make a colleague look bad, but ended up looking incompetent themselves. 2 colleagues were both competing for a major client contract with separate presentations. Jealousy over the colleague's better speaking skills and charisma led to a sabotage plan. During preparation, access to the colleague's presentation file allowed for subtle changes to be made. Important slides were deleted, data was altered to show incorrect figures, and formatting was ruined. The assumption was that the colleague would look unprepared and incompetent. However, the colleague had backup files and noticed the sabotage before presenting. Rather than presenting the tampered version, the colleague reported the incident to management immediately. IT investigation revealed the file access came from the saboteur's computer login. Confrontation led to a confession. Not only was the competition lost, but termination followed for unethical behavior. The colleague won the contract and received a promotion. Criminal charges for corporate sabotage were considered but not filed. Industry reputation was destroyed as word spread about what happened. The client specifically requested never to work with the saboteur. Finding new employment in the same field proved nearly impossible. The stupidity was sabotaging a colleague's presentation out of jealousy, getting caught through IT logs, being fired for unethical behavior, losing the contract, and destroying an industry reputation. 7. Someone tried to get their ex's new partner fired by making false complaints to their employer. Seeing an ex move on to a new relationship created overwhelming jealousy. After discovering where the new partner worked through social media stalking, a campaign of false complaints began. Anonymous emails were sent to the company claiming the new partner was embezzling money, harassing colleagues, and behaving unethically. Multiple fake identities were created to make it seem like different people were complaining. The company took the allegations seriously and launched an investigation. However, investigators quickly noticed the complaints all came from similar email addresses and IP ranges. The new partner was quickly cleared of all allegations. Law enforcement was contacted about the harassment. Cyber forensics traced the complaints back to the jealous ex. Criminal charges for harassment and filing false reports followed. A restraining order was issued. Court resulted in a conviction with probation and mandatory counseling. The fine totaled $5,000. The ex and their new partner filed a civil lawsuit for emotional distress. Settlement cost an additional $20,000. The ex married the new partner and posted happy photos deliberately visible to the harasser. Meanwhile, the criminal record made employment difficult. Background checks revealed the harassment conviction. The stupidity was trying to get an ex's new partner fired out of jealousy, filing false complaints, getting caught through forensics, being convicted of harassment, paying $25,000 total, and getting a criminal record. 8. A person copied their successful friend's business idea but did it so poorly they went bankrupt. Watching a friend build a successful bakery business created intense jealousy about the income and recognition. Rather than being supportive, a decision was made to open a competing bakery directly across the street. The assumption was that simply copying the concept would yield the same success. A $100,000 loan was taken out for equipment and rent. However, there was no baking experience, no business plan, and no understanding of why the friend's bakery succeeded. Prices were set lower to steal customers, but this meant operating at a loss. Quality was terrible compared to the friend's established recipes and technique. Customers tried the new place once and never returned. Marketing consisted of trash-talking the friend's bakery, which backfired as customers were loyal. Within 6 months, the business was failing completely. Desperate price cuts made losses even worse. The loan payments couldn't be met. After 10 months, bankruptcy was the only option. The bakery closed with $120,000 in total debt. The friend's business thrived and expanded to 2 more locations. The friendship was destroyed by the betrayal of copying and competing. Mutual friends sided with the original bakery owner. 7 years of debt repayment followed. The stupidity was copying a friend's business out of jealousy, opening a competing bakery with no experience, operating at a loss, going bankrupt with $120,000 in debt, and destroying the friendship. 9. Someone hacked their romantic rival's social media to post embarrassing content, resulting in federal charges. Jealousy over a romantic interest choosing someone else led to a revenge plan. After guessing the rival's social media password through common information, access to multiple accounts was gained. Embarrassing photoshopped images were posted claiming they showed the rival in compromising situations. Offensive posts were made appearing to come from the rival's accounts. Private messages were sent to the rival's family and employer with inappropriate content. The posts spread quickly before being deleted. However, the rival immediately knew this was hacking and reported it to law enforcement. FBI investigation into the cybercrimes began because it crossed state lines. Digital forensics traced the login locations to the jealous person's home and devices. Federal charges for unauthorized computer access and identity theft were filed. These were felony charges with potential prison time. A plea deal resulted in 2 years of probation, $10,000 in fines, and mandatory community service. The criminal record included federal felonies. The romantic interest and the rival ended up getting married. Employment became nearly impossible with federal felonies on background checks. The stupidity was hacking a romantic rival's social media out of jealousy, posting embarrassing content, committing federal cybercrimes, being convicted of felonies, paying $10,000 in fines, and getting a permanent criminal record. 10. A person reported their neighbor's home business to authorities out of jealousy, but their own illegal activities got discovered in the investigation. A neighbor's successful home-based consulting business created intense jealousy about the flexible schedule and income. Anonymous reports were made to zoning authorities claiming illegal commercial activity in a residential zone. Code enforcement investigated the complaint and found the neighbor had all proper licenses and permits. However, during the investigation, code enforcement noticed issues at the complainer's property. An illegal rental unit in the garage was discovered that violated zoning laws. Unpermitted electrical work was found that created safety hazards. The garage conversion had been rented out for 5 years without permits or paying taxes on the income. Fines for zoning violations totaled $15,000. The illegal rental had to be shut down immediately, losing $1,500 monthly income. Back taxes on unreported rental income amounted to $20,000 with penalties. Electrical repairs to meet code cost $8,000. Total financial impact exceeded $43,000. Meanwhile, the neighbor's legal business continued operating successfully. The neighbor discovered who filed the complaint and sued for harassment. Settlement cost another $5,000. The stupidity was reporting a neighbor's legal business out of jealousy, triggering an investigation that discovered your own illegal activities, paying $48,000 in fines and repairs, and losing rental income. 11. Someone lied on their resume to match a friend's qualifications, got caught during employment, and was blacklisted from the industry. A friend's impressive credentials and six-figure job created overwhelming jealousy. Looking at a much less impressive resume sparked the decision to fabricate qualifications. A fake MBA from a prestigious university was added. Certifications that were never earned were listed. Job titles at previous companies were inflated. Years of experience were exaggerated. The enhanced resume landed interviews at top companies that previously would have been impossible. One company made an offer for a $120,000 position without thoroughly checking credentials initially. 6 months into the job, a routine background verification discovered the lies. The MBA was completely fabricated. The university had no record. The certifications were never earned. Previous employers confirmed the inflated titles were false. Immediate termination followed. Legal action was threatened for fraud. The company demanded repayment of the $60,000 in salary paid during the 6 months. Industry contacts were warned about the dishonesty. Professional associations were notified. Background check databases were updated with the fraud. Future employment became impossible as every application failed background checks. The friend continued advancing in their legitimate career. Bankruptcy was filed to discharge the $60,000 debt. The stupidity was lying on a resume out of jealousy to match a friend's credentials, getting caught after 6 months, being forced to repay $60,000, being blacklisted from the industry, and destroying all career prospects. 12. A person poisoned their coworkers' office plants out of jealousy over their beautiful workspace, resulting in criminal charges. A coworker's office filled with thriving plants and tasteful decorations created bitter jealousy. The coworker received compliments daily about how nice the workspace looked. Unable to handle the attention going to someone else, bleach was poured into all the plant soil one night. 20 expensive plants died within days. The coworker was devastated as some plants had been growing for years. Security camera footage reviewed after the incident showed the jealous coworker entering the office after hours. Confrontation led to a confession. The company pressed criminal charges for destruction of property. The plant's value exceeded $2,000. Criminal mischief charges resulted in conviction. Restitution of $2,000 plus court costs of $1,500 was ordered. Termination from the job followed. The coworker replaced all the plants and made the office even more beautiful. Photos were posted on social media that went viral, bringing even more attention and compliments. The coworker was featured in an office design article. Meanwhile, the criminal record made finding new employment difficult. The stupidity was poisoning a coworker's plants out of jealousy, getting caught on security cameras, being convicted of criminal mischief, paying $3,500 total, getting fired, and getting a criminal record. 13. Someone anonymously reported their sibling to the IRS out of jealousy, triggering an audit of their own finances. A sibling's successful real estate business and expensive lifestyle created years of resentment. An anonymous tip to the IRS claimed the sibling was committing tax fraud and hiding income. The IRS investigated the sibling thoroughly and found everything was properly reported and legal. However, standard procedure included investigating the source of the tip. Financial records showed the tipster had unreported income from side jobs. Cash payments for freelance work had never been reported on tax returns. Deductions were claimed that couldn't be substantiated. The IRS audit of the jealous sibling found $15,000 in unreported income over 3 years. Penalties and back taxes totaled $8,000. Additional fines for false reporting were added. The sibling discovered who made the false report and cut off all family contact. Parents were disappointed in the jealous behavior. Holiday gatherings became awkward as the family sided with the innocent sibling. The successful sibling continued thriving, while the jealous one dealt with IRS payments. The stupidity was anonymously reporting a sibling to the IRS out of jealousy, having your own tax issues discovered, paying $8,000 in penalties and back taxes, and destroying family relationships. 14. A person slashed their ex's tires out of jealousy over their new relationship, but hit the wrong car and faced felony charges. Seeing an ex in a new relationship drove this person to vandalism. After following the ex to their new partner's house, the car parked in the driveway had all 4 tires slashed. The damage totaled $800. However, in the dark, the wrong car was targeted. It belonged to the new partner's roommate, not the ex. Security cameras captured the entire incident clearly. Police were called and the footage made identification easy. Arrest followed within 24 hours. Because the damage exceeded $500, felony criminal mischief charges were filed instead of misdemeanor. Conviction resulted in 18 months probation and $2,200 in restitution, including court costs. A felony record made employment difficult. The ex and their partner got engaged and posted happy photos. The roommate sued for emotional distress and won an additional $3,000. Total cost exceeded $4,200 plus the felony record. The stupidity was slashing tires out of jealousy, hitting the wrong car, getting caught on camera, being convicted of felony criminal mischief, paying $4,200, and getting a permanent felony record. 15. Someone started a smear campaign against a successful former classmate, leading to a defamation lawsuit they couldn't afford. A former classmate's success as a CEO of a tech startup created overwhelming jealousy. Seeing media coverage and industry recognition was unbearable. A website was created dedicated to making false accusations about the classmate. Claims of fraud, abuse, and illegal business practices were posted without any evidence. The website was promoted on social media. Some people believed the accusations initially. However, the successful classmate hired lawyers who quickly proved every claim was false. A defamation lawsuit seeking $200,000 in damages was filed. The defendant couldn't afford a lawyer and represented themselves poorly. The court found clear defamation with malicious intent. A judgment of $150,000 was awarded. The website had to be taken down. A public apology was ordered. Wage garnishment began immediately. 20% of income was taken for the next 10 years. Bankruptcy wouldn't discharge the judgment. Meanwhile, the classmates' company went public, making them worth $50 million. The stupidity was starting a smear campaign against a successful classmate out of jealousy, being sued for defamation, losing a $150,000 judgment, having wages garnished for 10 years, and watching them become worth $50 million. 16. A person sabotaged their own wedding by being jealous of the attention their bridegroom was receiving. Wedding planning became consumed with jealousy that the partner was getting more attention and compliments. Every conversation seemed to focus on how beautiful as handsome the partner looked, rather than giving equal attention. The jealousy grew until a decision was made to sabotage the wedding, to make the partner look bad. The day of the wedding, accidental red wine was spilled on the partner's wedding attire right before the ceremony. However, everyone immediately realized it was deliberate, based on witnesses seeing it happen. The partner was heartbroken and furious. Family members rallied to help fix the outfit. The ceremony proceeded, but the relationship was damaged beyond repair. The marriage was annulled within 3 months. The $40,000 spent on the wedding was completely wasted. Deposits were non-refundable. Family members demanded repayment for their contributions totaling $15,000. Friends took the ex-partner's side in the split. Social media posts about the sabotage went viral, humiliating the jealous person publicly. Therapy bills exceeded $5,000 trying to deal with the aftermath. The ex-partner found someone new within a year and had a beautiful wedding. The stupidity was sabotaging your own wedding out of jealousy over attention, ruining the marriage before it started, wasting $40,000, losing $15,000 more to family, and being publicly humiliated. 17. Someone bought a house they couldn't afford to compete with their sibling's home purchase. A sibling bought a beautiful $350,000 home and posted photos constantly. Jealousy consumed this person who was renting an apartment. Rather than saving responsibly, an immediate house purchase seemed necessary to compete. A $450,000 home was purchased, more expensive than the siblings, to win the competition. The mortgage was $3,200 monthly, which was barely affordable on a $75,000 salary. After property taxes, insurance, and maintenance, housing costs exceeded 60% of income. Credit cards covered daily expenses. Within a year, $25,000 of credit card debt accumulated. The house needed a new roof costing $15,000. More debt followed. By year 2, foreclosure became inevitable. The house sold for $420,000, leaving $35,000 still owed after sale costs. Bankruptcy was filed. Credit was destroyed for 7 years. Meanwhile, the siblings' home appreciated to $400,000 and their mortgage was comfortable. The stupidity was buying a $450,000 house out of jealousy to compete with a sibling, taking on an unaffordable $3,200 mortgage, accumulating $40,000 in debt, losing the house to foreclosure, and filing for bankruptcy. 18. A person got their friend's pet taken away by filing false abuse reports, but faced criminal charges for false reporting. A friend's beloved dog received constant attention and affection that created bizarre jealousy. Multiple anonymous reports to animal control claimed abuse and neglect. Animal control investigated and found the dog was healthy, well cared for, and loved. However, the false reports continued. A pattern emerged that raised suspicions. Investigation into the source revealed the jealous friend made all the reports. Criminal charges for filing false reports were filed. Conviction resulted in $2,000 in fines. The friendship ended immediately. Mutual friends were horrified by the behavior. Complete social isolation followed. The friend and their dog continued their happy life. The dog even became a therapy animal visiting hospitals, receiving even more love and attention. The jealous person moved to a new city to escape the reputation. The stupidity was filing false abuse reports about a friend's dog out of jealousy, getting caught, being convicted, and fined $2,000, losing all friends, and having to move. 19. Someone plagiarized their colleague's research paper out of jealousy, ending their academic career permanently. A colleague's groundbreaking research and academic recognition created intense professional jealousy. Access to the colleague's unpublished work led to temptation. The entire paper was copied with minor changes and submitted to a different journal under the plagiarist's name. Publication occurred before the original could be submitted. However, academic circles are small, and the original author discovered the plagiarism quickly. Evidence of the original work with earlier timestamps was presented. The journal retracted the plagiarized paper. The university launched an investigation. Clear plagiarism was proven. Immediate termination from the academic position followed. The PhD was revoked due to academic dishonesty. Professional associations banned membership permanently. The colleagues' careers soared with their published research and they won major awards. Meanwhile, the plagiarist became unemployable in academia. A decade of education and research was wasted. The stupidity was plagiarizing a colleague's research out of jealousy, getting caught and exposed, losing a PhD, being fired, and permanently ending an academic career. 20. A person keyed their own car thinking it was their ex's new partner's vehicle. Jealousy over an ex's new relationship led to seeking revenge through vandalism. After following the ex, a car parked at their apartment seemed like the new partner's vehicle. All sides were deeply keyed with offensive words. The damage totaled $3,000. However, it was actually a rental car the ex was borrowing while their car was being repaired. The rental company demanded payment for the damage. Security footage showed the vandalism clearly. Criminal charges were filed. Conviction for criminal mischief resulted in $4,500 in restitution, including court costs. Probation lasted 18 months. The ex married the new partner and lived happily. The criminal record affected job prospects for years. The stupidity was keying what was thought to be a rival's car out of jealousy, hitting the wrong vehicle, being caught on camera, paying $4,500, getting a criminal record, and achieving nothing. 21. Someone exposed their coworker's personal secret out of jealousy, resulting in a massive lawsuit. A coworker's popularity and success at work created resentment. After discovering the coworker was transgender through medical paperwork left at the printer, a decision was made to expose this information. Emails were sent to the entire company outing the coworker publicly. The intent was to cause embarrassment and harm their reputation. Instead, the company and coworkers rallied around the victim. The jealous person was fired immediately for harassment and creating a hostile work environment. The coworker sued for invasion of privacy, emotional distress, and discrimination. The lawsuit sought $300,000. Settlement negotiations resulted in a $175,000 judgment. Wage garnishment and asset seizure began. The coworker received public support and became an advocate for workplace rights. They were promoted and received a $30,000 raise. Meanwhile, the jealous person filed bankruptcy and faced years of financial ruin. The stupidity was outing a coworker's private information out of jealousy, being fired, being sued for $175,000, losing everything to wage garnishment, and watching them thrive. 22. A person falsely accused their attractive coworker of sexual harassment out of jealousy over the attention they received. A coworker's attractiveness and the attention they received created bitter jealousy. False sexual harassment claims were made to HR claiming inappropriate advances. HR took the allegations seriously and launched an investigation. However, security footage and witness statements proved the accused was nowhere near the accuser at the claimed times. Text messages revealed the accuser had asked the attractive coworker out and been rejected. A pattern of jealousy and resentment was documented. The accusations were proven completely false. Termination for making false claims followed. The falsely accused coworker sued for defamation. A judgment of $85,000 was awarded for the damage to reputation. The attractive coworker's career flourished, while the false accuser struggled with debt and a damaged reputation. The stupidity was making false harassment claims out of jealousy, getting caught lying, being fired, being sued for $85,000, and destroying your own career. 23. Someone stole from their successful sibling to even things out, resulting in criminal charges from their own family. A sibling's financial success created resentment about inequality. During a family gathering, jewelry worth $10,000 was stolen from the successful sibling's bedroom. The assumption was that the wealthy sibling could afford to replace it, and it would even things out. However, the jewelry had sentimental value as family heirlooms. Police were called despite the family relationship. Investigation focused on family members who had access. The jealous sibling was caught trying to pawn the jewelry. Arrest and charges for felony theft followed. Conviction resulted in probation and $12,000 in restitution. The entire family was torn apart. Parents were devastated. The successful sibling cut off all contact permanently. Holiday gatherings became impossible. The criminal record affected employment. The family inheritance was changed to exclude the thief. The stupidity was stealing from a sibling out of jealousy, getting caught pawning the items, being convicted of felony theft, paying $12,000, destroying the family, and being written out of the inheritance. 24. A person spread lies about their friend's business to competitors, destroying the friendship and facing legal consequences. A friend's thriving business created jealousy about their success. Confidential information about the business was shared with competitors. Lies about quality problems and ethical issues were spread. Several clients were lost as a result. The friend tracked down the source of the false information through detailed investigation. Confrontation led to an admission. The friendship ended immediately. A lawsuit for tortious interference with business was filed. Evidence of the deliberate sabotage was clear. A judgment of $50,000 for lost business was awarded. The friend's business recovered and grew even larger. New partnerships brought in more revenue. Meanwhile, the jealous person paid the judgment over 5 years while watching the friend succeed. The stupidity was sabotaging a friend's business out of jealousy, causing them to lose clients, being sued for $50,000, destroying the friendship, and watching them succeed anyway. 25. Someone got plastic surgery to look younger than their more youthful-looking sibling, resulting in botched procedures and massive debt. A sibling who looked much younger than their age created intense jealousy. At age 45, being mistaken for 50 while the sibling looked 35 was unbearable. Extensive plastic surgery was pursued to look younger. A facelift, eye lift, and neck lift totaled $35,000. The surgeon was chosen based on price rather than quality. Complications during surgery led to nerve damage. One side of the face was partially paralyzed. Additional corrective surgeries cost another $25,000. The results were worse. Obvious surgery with an unnatural appearance. Looking older and more damaged than before surgery, age was now impossible to hide. The sibling continued looking naturally youthful and aging gracefully. Total debt from surgeries reached $60,000. Depression and isolation followed from the botched appearance. The stupidity was getting $60,000 in plastic surgery out of jealousy to look younger than a sibling, choosing a cheap surgeon, ending up with nerve damage and a worse appearance, and going deep into debt. 26. A person reported their wealthy friend to the IRS, claiming unreported income, but the friend was completely legal and retaliated with a lawsuit. A friend's wealth and luxurious lifestyle created assumptions they must be cheating on taxes. An anonymous tip to the IRS claimed millions in unreported offshore income. The IRS launched an extensive audit. However, every penny was properly documented and taxed. The friend's accountants had ensured full compliance. The audit found 0 issues. Investigation into the false tip identified the jealous friend as the source. The wealthy friend hired lawyers and sued for malicious prosecution and harassment. A settlement of $40,000 was reached to avoid trial. The friendship ended permanently. Mutual friends sided with the innocent party. Social reputation was destroyed. The wealthy friend continued succeeding while the jealous person paid off the settlement. The stupidity was falsely reporting a friend to the IRS out of jealousy, having them fully cleared, being sued for $40,000, losing the friendship, and losing social standing. 27. Someone poisoned office food to make their health-conscious coworkers sick out of jealousy over their fit appearance. A coworker's incredible fitness and healthy lifestyle created bitter jealousy. Constant compliments about their appearance were unbearable. Laxatives were secretly added to the coworker's lunch in the shared refrigerator. The coworker became violently ill. Security footage was reviewed, showing the contamination clearly. Police were called immediately. Arrest for poisoning and assault followed. Criminal charges were serious given the deliberate nature. Conviction resulted in 1 year in jail and 3 years probation. Civil lawsuit for medical costs and emotional distress added $30,000 in damages. The coworker recovered and looked even better. They became a fitness influencer with thousands of followers. Meanwhile, the jealous person served jail time and emerged with a criminal record. Employment became extremely difficult. The stupidity was poisoning a coworker's food out of jealousy, getting caught on camera, serving a year in jail, paying $30,000, getting a criminal record, and watching them become famous. 28. A person vandalized their ex's new partner's business out of jealousy, causing $50,000 in damage and facing felony charges. An ex's new relationship created rage and jealousy. After discovering the new partner owned a small restaurant, a nighttime vandalism spree destroyed equipment, broke windows, and spray-painted offensive messages everywhere. Damage exceeded $50,000. Security cameras captured everything. Arrest followed within hours. Felony charges for criminal mischief and burglary were filed. Conviction resulted in 2 years in prison. Restitution of $50,000 plus court costs was ordered. Upon release, wage garnishment took 25% of income. The ex married the new partner, and the restaurant became even more successful after the insurance payout allowed upgrades. The felon struggled to find any employment. The stupidity was vandalizing an ex's new partner's business out of jealousy, causing $50,000 in damage, serving 2 years in prison, owing $50,000 in restitution, and watching them succeed. 29. Someone hacked their siblings' email to sabotage their job opportunities out of jealousy over their career success. A sibling's impressive career advancement created intense resentment. Access to their email password allowed for sabotage. Job offer emails were deleted before being read. Interview confirmation emails were moved to trash. Responses to recruiters were sent declining interest in positions. The sibling missed several opportunities before realizing something was wrong. IT forensics traced the unauthorized access. Confrontation led to confession. The family was horrified. Criminal charges for computer crimes were filed. Conviction resulted in probation and $5,000 in fines. The sibling cut off contact permanently. Parents took the victim's side. The successful sibling's career continued thriving despite the sabotage. Meanwhile, the hacker's criminal record limited their own job prospects. The stupidity was hacking a sibling's email out of jealousy to sabotage their career, getting caught through forensics, being convicted of computer crimes, paying $5,000, and destroying family relationships. 30. A person started a competing business out of jealousy but stole their friend's client list, leading to criminal charges and business failure. A friend's successful consulting business created jealousy. A competing business was started, and the friend's entire client database was stolen. Emails were sent to all the clients claiming the friend's business was closing. Many clients switched to the new business initially. However, the friend discovered the theft and client poaching. Criminal charges for theft of trade secrets were filed. Civil lawsuit for tortious interference followed. The stolen client list was proven through digital evidence. Criminal conviction resulted in probation and fines. Civil judgment awarded $75,000 in damages. Clients learned the truth and returned to the original business. The competing business failed within a year. Total debt from the judgment and failed business exceeded $100,000. Bankruptcy followed. The stupidity was starting a competing business out of jealousy, stealing a friend's client list, facing criminal and civil charges, losing $100,000, failing in business, and filing bankruptcy. 31. Someone called Child Protective Services on their sibling out of jealousy over their happy family, but the investigation found excellent parenting. A sibling's perfect family with happy, healthy children created bitter jealousy. False reports to Child Protective Services claimed abuse and neglect. CPS investigated thoroughly. Home visits found a clean, safe environment with well-cared-for children. Medical records showed all healthcare was up to date. Teachers reported the children were thriving. The investigation cleared the family completely. However, the trauma and stress on the children and parents was significant. Investigation into who made the false report identified the jealous sibling. Criminal charges for false reporting were filed. Conviction resulted in $3,000 in fines. The sibling relationship ended permanently. The entire extended family sided against the false reporter. The happy family continued thriving with their children succeeding in school and activities. The stupidity was calling CPS on a sibling's family out of jealousy, making false abuse claims, being caught and convicted, paying $3,000, and permanently destroying family relationships. 32. A person sabotaged their roommate's relationship by pretending to be them in text messages, but got caught and faced legal consequences. A roommate's loving relationship created jealousy in someone who was single. While the roommate was sleeping, their phone was used to send breakup texts to their partner. Cruel messages were sent pretending to be the roommate. However, the partner knew something was wrong and called instead of accepting the texts. The truth came out immediately. The roommate realized what happened and called police. Criminal charges for identity theft and harassment were filed. Conviction resulted in probation. Civil lawsuit for emotional distress was settled for $8,000. Eviction followed immediately. Finding a new place was difficult with the criminal record. The roommate and their partner got engaged. The stupidity was sabotaging a roommate's relationship out of jealousy, impersonating them in texts, being caught immediately, facing criminal charges, paying $8,000, and being evicted. 33. Someone falsely claimed their coworker plagiarized them out of jealousy over recognition for the coworker's work. A coworker received a major award for innovative work that created intense jealousy. False claims were made that the work was actually plagiarized. HR investigated the allegations. However, the coworker had extensive documentation of their original research and development. Timestamps, drafts, and witnesses proved the work was entirely original. The false accuser's claims were proven baseless. Termination for making false accusations followed. The coworker sued for defamation. A judgment of $45,000 was awarded. The coworker's career advanced even further with new awards and promotions. Meanwhile, industry reputation was destroyed for the false accuser. Finding work in the same field became impossible. The stupidity was falsely accusing a coworker of plagiarism out of jealousy, being proven wrong, getting fired, being sued for $45,000, and becoming unemployable. 34. A person slashed their friend's wedding dress out of jealousy over not being chosen as maid of honor. Not being chosen as maid of honor for a best friend's wedding created bitter resentment. The night before the wedding, access to the dress led to temptation. The dress was slashed beyond repair. However, security cameras at the venue captured everything. Police were called immediately. Arrest occurred on the wedding day. Criminal charges for destruction of property ruined what should have been a happy occasion. The wedding proceeded with a borrowed dress. Conviction resulted in $5,000 in restitution for the custom dress and court costs. The friendship ended forever. Mutual friends were horrified and cut off contact. Social media posts about the incident went viral. Years later, the damage to reputation remained. The stupidity was slashing a friend's wedding dress out of jealousy, getting caught on camera, being arrested on their wedding day, paying $5,000, and losing all friends. 35. Someone tampered with their siblings' college application essays out of jealousy, but the sibling got in anyway and discovered the sabotage. A younger sibling's impressive college applications created jealousy. Access to their computer allowed for subtle changes to their essays. Important content was deleted and grammar was ruined. However, the sibling had backup drafts and noticed changes before submitting. The essays were restored from backups. Confrontation revealed who made the changes. The siblings still got into their dream school with a full scholarship. Parents were informed of the sabotage. Severe punishment and disappointment followed. Trust was permanently broken. College fund contributions were redirected entirely to the younger sibling. The jealous sibling had to pay their own way through a cheaper school. Relationship with parents never recovered. The stupidity was sabotaging a sibling's college applications out of jealousy, getting caught, losing parental trust and financial support, and watching them succeed anyway. 36. A person spread rumors that their attractive coworker was having affairs with married colleagues, leading to a defamation lawsuit. A coworker's attractiveness and friendly personality created jealousy. Rumors were spread claiming they were sleeping with multiple married coworkers. The lies spread throughout the office. Several marriages were affected by the rumors. Investigation revealed all accusations were false. The source was traced back to the jealous coworker. Immediate termination followed. Multiple defamation lawsuits were filed by the accused coworker and the married colleagues. Combined judgments totaled $90,000. Wage garnishment began. The attractive coworker's reputation was restored and they were promoted. Meanwhile, bankruptcy and years of financial hardship followed for the rumormonger. The stupidity was spreading false affair rumors out of jealousy, being caught and fired, being sued for $90,000 by multiple people, and facing years of garnishment. 37. Someone burned down their ex's new house out of jealousy over their upgrade, resulting in arson charges and prison time. An ex's purchase of a beautiful new home created overwhelming rage. Late at night, gasoline was poured around the foundation and ignited. The house burned significantly before firefighters arrived. Arson investigation found clear evidence of accelerant use. Security footage from neighbors showed the arsonist's car. Arrest followed quickly. Arson charges are serious felonies. Conviction resulted in 5 years in prison. Restitution of $200,000 for damages not covered by insurance was ordered. The ex rebuilt an even nicer house with insurance money. Upon release from prison, wage garnishment took decades. The felony record made life extremely difficult. The stupidity was burning down an ex's house out of jealousy, being caught on camera, serving 5 years in prison, owing $200,000, and watching them rebuild bigger. 38. A person got their friend's professional license suspended by filing false complaints out of jealousy of their successful practice. A friend's thriving medical practice created intense jealousy. False complaints to the medical board claimed malpractice and unethical behavior. The board investigated thoroughly. All patient records showed excellent care. Colleagues testified to high ethical standards. The complaints were proven baseless. However, investigation into the false complaints revealed the jealous friend as the source. The medical board reported the false claims to authorities. Criminal charges for filing false reports were filed. The friend sued for damages to their reputation and practice. Combined criminal fines and civil judgment totaled $55,000. The friendship ended with restraining orders. The medical practice grew even larger. Meanwhile, the false reporter faced years of debt and isolation. The stupidity was filing false professional complaints out of jealousy, being caught and exposed, paying $55,000 in fines and judgment, and watching them thrive. 39. Someone anonymously sent explicit photos they found of their coworker to the coworker's family out of jealousy, facing criminal charges for harassment and revenge porn. A coworker's happy life and strong family relationships created bitter jealousy. After finding private photos on a shared computer, copies were made. The photos were sent anonymously to the coworker's parents, siblings, and extended family. The intent was to cause embarrassment and family strife. Instead, the family supported the coworker and contacted police. Cyber forensics traced the emails to the jealous coworker. Arrest for harassment and distribution of intimate images followed. These were serious criminal charges. Conviction resulted in 1 year in jail and registration as a sex offender. The coworker's family became even closer after the incident. The felon's life was destroyed by the sex offender registry. Employment became nearly impossible. The stupidity was sending explicit photos to a coworker's family out of jealousy, being caught through forensics, serving jail time, and being registered as a sex offender. 40. A person stole their friend's business idea and rushed to market, but the execution was terrible and they lost everything while the friend succeeded. A friend shared a brilliant business idea during a casual conversation. Jealousy led to stealing the concept and racing to launch first. A $50,000 loan funded the rushed launch. However, without the friend's expertise and planning, execution was terrible. The product was low quality, marketing was ineffective, customer service was non-existent. The business failed within 6 months with zero revenue. The $50,000 loan still had to be repaid. The friend launched their version a year later with proper planning. Their business became hugely successful, earning millions. The friendship was destroyed by the betrayal. Mutual friends sided with the victim. Debt from the failed business took 5 years to repay. The stupidity was stealing a friend's business idea out of jealousy, rushing to market without expertise, losing $50,000, destroying the friendship, and watching them earn millions. 41. Someone got their neighbor's car towed repeatedly out of jealousy over their luxury vehicle, but ended up paying for all the towing fees. A neighbor's beautiful luxury car parked on the street created intense jealousy. False reports to parking enforcement claimed the car was abandoned. The car was towed multiple times. However, the neighbor fought each towing and won. Parking enforcement investigated the pattern of false reports. Video evidence showed the car was being used regularly and legally parked. The false reporter was identified. All towing fees totaling $2,400 had to be reimbursed. Additional fines for false reporting added $1,000. Civil lawsuit for harassment was settled for $5,000. Total cost exceeded $8,400. The neighbor bought an even more expensive car. Meanwhile, the jealous person struggled with the debt. The stupidity was getting a neighbor's car towed repeatedly out of jealousy, being caught making false reports, paying $8,400 in fees and settlement, and watching them upgrade. 42. A person falsely accused their successful colleague of sexual harassment to damage their career, but video evidence proved innocence and led to criminal charges. A colleague's rapid promotions and success created bitter resentment. False sexual harassment allegations were made claiming inappropriate touching and comments. The colleague was suspended during investigation. However, office security footage showed the accused was never alone with the accuser at the claimed times. Witnesses testified the accuser had been jealous and vocal about it. The allegations were proven completely false. The colleague was cleared and returned to work. Criminal charges against the false accuser for filing a false report followed. Termination occurred immediately. Conviction resulted in fines and probation. Civil lawsuit for defamation resulted in a $120,000 judgment. The colleague was promoted and given a raise. The false accuser's career was destroyed permanently. Bankruptcy followed years later. The stupidity was making false harassment allegations out of jealousy, being proven wrong by video evidence, facing criminal charges, being sued for $120,000, and destroying your career. 43. Someone broke into their ex's home to steal back gifts they had given, but was caught and faced burglary charges. An ex's new relationship made this person jealous and resentful about expensive gifts given during the relationship. Breaking into the ex's home while away seemed justified to retrieve their property. However, a security system triggered police response. Arrest occurred inside the home with the stolen items. Burglary charges are serious felonies even if you gave the gifts originally. Conviction resulted in 18 months in prison. The gifts legally belonged to the ex once given. Civil lawsuit for emotional distress added $10,000. The ex kept the gifts and married the new partner. The burglar emerged from prison with a felony record. Employment prospects were severely limited. The stupidity was breaking into an ex's home out of jealousy to steal gifts back, being caught by security, serving 18 months in prison, paying $10,000, and getting a felony record. 44. A person leaked their friend's private medical information to their workplace out of jealousy over a promotion, facing HIPAA violations and huge fines. A friend's promotion at work created resentment. Working at a medical facility provided access to the friend's private medical records. Confidential mental health information was leaked to the friend's new employer. The intent was to get them fired or demoted. However, HIPAA violations are federal crimes. Investigation quickly identified the source. Federal charges were filed. Conviction resulted in $50,000 in fines for HIPAA violations. Termination from the medical job followed. Professional license was permanently revoked. Civil lawsuit added another $75,000 judgment. The friend kept their promotion and thrived. Total financial damage exceeded $125,000. The career in healthcare was over permanently. The stupidity was leaking a friend's medical information out of jealousy, committing federal HIPAA violations, paying $125,000 in fines and judgment, losing your career, and watching them succeed. 45. And finally, someone hired a private investigator to dig up dirt on their successful sibling, but the investigation found nothing except exposed the jealous sibling's own secrets. A sibling's perfect life with career success, happy marriage, and beautiful home seemed too good to be true. Convinced there must be hidden scandals, a $10,000 retainer was paid to a private investigator to find dirt. The investigator followed the sibling for months. However, the perfect life was genuinely earned through hard work and good choices. Nothing scandalous was found. The investigation revealed the sibling was exactly who they appeared to be. Meanwhile, the investigator's report noted suspicious activity from the jealous sibling. Financial records showed unreported income. Affairs outside the sibling's marriage were documented. The investigator was legally obligated to report certain findings. The jealous sibling's own secrets were exposed instead. Divorce followed when the spouse learned about the affairs. The IRS was notified about unreported income. Tax penalties totaled $15,000. Lost $10,000 on the useless investigation. Meanwhile, the successful sibling's perfect life continued unchanged. The jealous sibling's life fell apart completely. The stupidity was hiring a PI to investigate a sibling out of jealousy, finding nothing wrong with them, having your own secrets exposed instead, losing $25,000, getting divorced, and watching them continue thriving while your life collapsed. These acts of jealousy prove that envy destroys the jealous person far more than their target, that people will sabotage themselves while trying to hurt others, and that success is the best revenge against jealous people. Every single person made their own life worse through jealous actions. Hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed these jealousy disasters, and remember, other people's success doesn't diminish your worth, and jealousy only hurts the jealous person. These people learned that lesson the hard way, destroying their own lives while the targets of their envy continued thriving.